This is the reference I'm using, drawing from my sketchbook, a borrowed drawing, bit of reference for my seahorse. It's the painting I did, and I'll be using these again tonight, just as reference. So they'll be off to the side where you can't see them. You'll be able to see the table tonight, and I'll be applying the seahorse. And I've got a lot of stuff here. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to use yet. Okay, I've started drawing just the basic outline on the table. There's faults in the tabletop. You can see it's a beautiful inlay tabletop, but whoever's had a go at sanding this down to stain it has sanded right through the inlay to what looks like particle board underneath, and then you've got stains. There's a burn mark on this table too, but there's quite a lot of staining, especially up around here and here. But the tabletop's not perfect, so but it's a perfect excuse to do a design on it and just keep some of the pattern in it. This seahorse is going to be in browns initially. I'm thinking I'm going to bring in gold in it, and look, I just don't even know where it's going to go from here, because it's like many things that I do, it's a first time experiment, but I know it'll be quite elaborate. I'm going to go in with a darker brown so you'll be able to see a lot clearer. But this is what we started with last week. Well, I did a drawing, like a drawing lesson, so we covered basic drawing. And this is the seahorse from last week, which came from this reference. So it's a photo reference, and I'll be adding flowers and that around it. I'm going to do a little bit of coral, but a big seahorse, and have some flowers around it. So I've got some black and white reference from photos that I've taken of flowers, and the reason I did them black and white was just so I can look at the basic shapes and not get distracted by the colour. So I printed them out in black and white. Right, now here I've got an assortment of ink pens, and I need to use ones that are definitely water soluble, so they're not going to... Now I was going to use stain on here. It's a little bit tricky the way I've got it set up, so you can see it's a little bit more difficult for me to work in ink and not potentially knock it over, because I've got, if you saw the setup, there's lights and microphones and all sorts of things all around me, and I'm just about head-butting lighting, so I've got to, I'll do it this way. Now I think I will start with the eye. Now I'm not going to stick to this exactly. I'm definitely going to use artistic license. This is a very, very fine liner, so you may not... Hoping you can see this as I build it up. I'm not doing a realistic seahorse. I'm going to do one that's patterned and decorative, but just using the reference as a guide. So where he's got these little things here, I'm going to take advantage of those. I've just got to get rid of all the lines while I can, because once you start putting the ink and that down, they sometimes mix in with the pencil, and I don't want it to do that. So this is the burn mark I mentioned before, and that's where they've really sanded right through that section there, and then you've got these stains. But I still like the woodwork, so I still want to keep as much of it as I can. The design will be first importance, but I still want to keep the wood and have a combination of the two. Okay. Time to make a mess on the floor. I seen a little photo of a seahorse, and in the bottom of his tail is hanging on to a cotton bud, and the cotton bud was like 3 times the size of the seahorse. He must have been tiny, but it's given me an idea to put something through there. But I've done a line there, so I don't know if I can do that now. Yes, I can, because what I can do is I can darken it. Okay, I'll bring it out here, and then this is a darker Copic. This gives me a chance to, I can actually go back in with wood stain if I want later, but I can draft it in these. So see the point on it, and you'll see, now you're closer, you'll be able to see it bend as I push on it. See how it's a brush? And so see how I use the brush. It's such a fine tip, but if you're a bit scared of using that end, see that, how it's squared? That is easier to control if you've got to go in, say, like a place like that. Well, it might be for some people. Okay, so inside the curl would be darker, so we'll go darker in there, and then I am going to colour these with that colour. I will pick out parts of this design with gold. Probably seeing a line through there. That's the pencil. I should have rubbed that off before. Let me see if it'll... It's probably still a bit wet, so when the thing evaporates, hopefully it'll come out. That's why you need to rub it out first, guys. Okay, this is actually good that this has happened. I'll tell you why, because I can show you what I would do to cover up my whoopsie. Just go darker, and the alcohol in this will pick up the pencil and blend it in. Now see with this, as this goes on, see the line? It's too hard. I should just leave these lids off instead of putting them on. You can blend it with the other colour. So it'd be similar to if you were to use stone. This looks amazing, this side of the camera. I can start to see an impression of how it's going to come out, because I'm just going to go to town with flowers and pattern and maybe some Baroque swirls, and who knows. But I just know I want it to be a real wow piece. Dynamos piece, I call it. Dynamos. Dudamos. I hope you can see the gradual toning of this. It's a matter of building up, because the wood will only take in so much at a time, which is great because you can gradually build it up. You don't have to panic about it sucking it in too quickly. You know, you start with a lighter colour and just go a bit darker. I mean, you could have gone even, I could have even gone lighter again and then gone darker and then gone to the real dark colours later. But I was pretty confident to do it. But if you want to be really careful, so I just went over the line. I'll just move you so you can see my mistake. Okay. Should be able to see that. I just went over the line here. But it doesn't matter because you can come back with this. This is the darkest of all of them. And redraw that line. And then get the darkest texture, or whatever it is, ink thing, blend it, and blend that back. Mistake disappears. Yes, it's just like painting, absolutely. Make a mistake with paint, you can always go over it again. In fact, I was thinking, you know, really the reality is if you do something like this and you don't have a lot of confidence, it doesn't, like, don't be afraid to try it, because you could always just paint over it. Like, you make a mistake, just paint over it. I would seal it because I'm using ink, so I'd definitely seal it because the inks could very easily bleed through, but yeah, you could just paint over it if you make a mess. But even if you make a mess, you're bound to learn. I've been painting and drawing for years, and every time I learn something, really. I like to experiment, try something else, grow, try something else, grow. Forever be excited about what you're doing. Now you can see me leaning on what I've just done. It has soaked into the wood enough that I can go pretty much lean on it straight away, which is handy. Otherwise, it's probably, you know, you could be doing this and just leaning on paper, but we won't do that because you won't be able to see. I can feel it slightly tacky, but I'm going to do, which one will I do? I think I'll do this. So I'm going to do 2 circles for this, just guidelines for myself. They look kind of like looks like a flying saucer. And this one's quite involved, so I will need this. go in with a lighter one and give it some, actually I know what I need, just hang on. I've got one open, but I'll get this one. It's a blender. Which is clear, so I can just put a smaller amount, so go lighter again. There's a definition between the flower and the leaf, and even though I'm using the same colour, I haven't darkened up like I did with that, but using that blender just gives me one more tone. Oh, and I meant to say too, I always forget to say, but thank you for those who share the video and tell their friends, because I really would love to get as many people to see these as possible, because you can only help as many people as you can reach, hey? So thanks for those who have done that in the past, and for you guys that always show up too. You know who you are, I know who you are, and I appreciate you. Now I'm just deepening that, and I'm going to give that base a bit of a lift. So I'm going to do several different flowers on this. You know what though? I'm going to be looking for every which piece of furniture I can move out of my lounge room to keep it. I really don't think it's going. This table's about a metre square, and I don't think it'll fit in our lounge. I think I'm going to have to part with it eventually, but it's going to be so much work. But I'll have the videos for prosperity, hey? Well, I mean, you could have, I encourage people to have a go. You can start with something small too. Even start with like a plaque. What about a chopping board? You get a light coloured chopping board from Kmart or whatever, or wherever you want to get it from, you know, a cheapie. And you could have a go. And I'm literally only using two colours, one darker than the other, so two tones of a similar colour. And which I picked these because they look like wood stain, and I was going to use wood stain originally, but I thought that was a bit risky because I have got cameras, lights and cords and you name it, microphones and everything everywhere, and I could easily knock it over. The blender, and I've used this Stadler fine liner, Tri Plus fine liner. I use these in my bullet journal too. I use the black ones. That's a dry safe. It says dry safe, so I'm assuming it's going to be okay. I've got this as backup a pit, a Faber-Castell pit artist pen, which is light fast too, so you don't want to do all this work and then it fades. So I've got that in just a 5B pencil, and you could use any soft pencil, but I've used this so initially when I'm drawing so you guys could see it because it's darker. So the higher the B, the softer the lead and the darker. So a 2B is a lot harder than a 5B and lighter. I'll build up with this, and then when I've got a design happening, I'm thinking I'll put some gold in there too. I'd like to add touches of gold to it before I seal it. So that's very dark, that one. But in there, if you're quick, one dissolves the other, and then you can kind of blend and use that to blend up to nothing. So this is what I've pinched that one off that cat, my drawing of the cat. This is just a photocopy, that's why I'm scrunching it up, but this is the one I've just pinched for that one. And above here, above those leaves, I'd like to put this one. I really like that one. I think that's a passion fruit flower actually. It's really pretty. So again, I'll just put my main shape so I don't make too many mistakes. So I'm copying this. The thing with flowers, you don't have to be exact. So okay, that's all I'm putting in. So then I'm starting with these little stamens or edges of the the actual drawing. It's just a bit clearer because I did it in biro, so it's very fine. So that's the start. You see I've got a long way to go, but that's the start. And they're the flowers he's starting to hold. So I'll get in as close as I can. Now I can hold it. So you're getting a little bit of shine. That's the one we've just started. There's the bud. I'll move around like this so we can. That's the beginning. That's the burn. So that's the burn on the table, and that's where they've sanded through. And you've got all these, see these stains, and over here, and in the face particularly. See in there, all those stains. So there's his face. So there you go, guys. I'm going to flood this table with flowers. There will be probably to this side. I'll leave a lot of wood, but I'm pretty much going to frame it, I think, all the way around, way round here in flowers, and I'll probably have some coral coming up here too. So the suggestion of C, but have it mixed in with flowers, and it will be amazing. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we will catch up again with this on next Thursday. I will be on doing something else live between now and then. I haven't decided what yet, but I'm bound to be doing something in the studio because I've got a heap to do. So there you go. Bless you guys. I hope that was informative, interesting, fun, something. Okay, bye.